You are live. Wow, fantastic. Welcome everyone to another live stream of me, Susanne Grant, and Max from House of Hives Publishing, I call it, but it's actually just House of Hives, isn't it? Well, as she
It
is
is, but
gonna
we do publish.
we do publishing. Well, as she's just sharing the links on her platform, we are gonna be talking about this lovely Sunday afternoon. It is for me about my upcoming book, Drop the Motherfucking Struggle. And this
Yes.
very subtle title is, of course, around the topic on how we can create a life that's easier, more fun, and more flow. I see there are people on the chat. I don't know if Max can see the comments too. It's your new
Uh,
assistant.
oh, wait,
How do you
comments.
pronounce your
Here we go.
name? Do I
I
say
can, yes.
Hira? Is that the way to pronounce it? I'm Dutchifying it.
I think I might be Dutchifying it as well. That's how I say it anyway.
Well, it's nice to have you here. I'm glad we're catching us live,
In
and we
fact, when
are.
you just started the live,
That's perfect. Sorry, the connection cut off slightly, but as I was just saying, we're going to talk about my upcoming book, which is a collaboration from Grand Method Coaching, which is my business, and Max, her business, House of Hives. And were you done sharing, or should I just keep talking? Because I can talk forever if we have
just, keep talking because it's not going fast.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'll continue about well what it is that I do and why I decided to write this book. Now, before we dive into this, I would love to share with you guys if you are considering sharing your story through a solo book, like I am about to, or through a co author book, like I did in early 2020. Of course, Max is the person to talk to right now because Max is recruiting her next authors for the solo books, but also she has a few chapters left in the Power of Reintervention. And for the next one, Burnout something. Remind me of the title.
The many faces of burnout. Yes, that
Thank
one
you.
we're just getting
That's
started on.
that's the one.
Um, but yes, the power of reinvention is in the exciting stage of closing. We're closing the doors at the end of the week. There's still about 4 chapters if I tickle the editor a little bit and be nice to her. Um, but yeah, it's exciting that the book's coming out just 2-3 days after your solo book comes out
Oh,
in August.
it makes for a busy week for Max and her team, obviously. But yeah, let's talk about it. Were you done with everything now, or is it still not
No, it's just
working?
taking its time. I will just do it while we're
Whatever.
while we're
We'll do it
talking. I'll just
later.
multitask. It's fine.
It fits the theme, right? Drop the motherfucking struggle. If it's not working, we're not gonna.
Exactly. And also get a better internet connection.
Yeah, I'll be getting mine tomorrow. So if you come reach me tomorrow,
No,
you know
that's so
why.
exciting.
um, these books are paid. That's a good question. Do you mean you have to pay for the book to buy it, or do you have to pay for the book to get into it? Because of course there is a different um, way of phrasing it. For the co-author book, I know for Max, yes, you pay a small
Yes,
investment.
there is a buy-in to the chapters, which covers the cost of my team and myself, and the sales of that book, much like that happened for your co-authored book as well. The sales of the book are donated to charity. So I guess there's paid either way.
Yeah, so
um,
it's how it's called. It's pay to play, right? So it's a small
yeah.
investment you make for the service. It's all inclusive. So the editing is done for you, the uploading is done for you. So like with my book as well, that I did earlier last year, because it is a professional edited looking book, you can actually use it then for your own marketing. And for me, it meant opening up a lot of doors, a lot of opportunities, and actually allowed to grow my business with 400% just last year in the midst of COVID. Well, obviously, with the work I do, I specialize in helping business owners, entrepreneurs to find a better work life balance. And we all know in 2020, that kind of went belly up, of course. So for me, it was the perfect time to share my story and the importance why, mental health matters, why you matter, why alignment matters, why all these different elements matter. And the book allowed me to share my story to a bigger audience because you work together with several authors, which of course with the co-author book that Max is finalizing the final chapters for right now is also the case. So it really allows you to leverage your network as well as all the other authors as well, which of course allows you to get thousands more people to share your story with. Because if we all have a certain amount of audience available, multiply that by
Yeah,
the
and
amount of results,
exactly.
it
And
will be
everybody has sort of these gaps in their audience as well, right? With people who kind of are attracted to the kind of things that we're talking about, but are maybe not looking for a business coach, but they're looking for a life coach, or so everybody has these kind of blind
open.
spots in their audience, I guess, that you can then leverage for the benefit of everyone involved. So yeah,
Yes.
it's a really nice sort of collaborative um, project atmosphere.
Co-creation.
Exactly, it's co-creation at its best, and I think that's at least that's for me. That's something that I'm quite passionate about. Getting out of that sort of constant. We're always having to be in competition with each other vibe. Like I'm not really about that. It's like let's help each
Elbowing
other
each
grow,
other,
right?
right?
Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I think that
definitely.
exactly, and I think that that is something that you definitely uh, uh, feel as well, and a lot of these sort of constant competition, that hustle, and that productivity, but all these things are kind of interrelated, I feel. So I know, given that I'm working on your solo book with you, that that is not something that you identify with.
No, not at all. No, for me, being part of a co-author project is I have a big love for the written words. Everyone who knows in my space knows I'm passionate about the history and the development and how it all ties in with it. I absolutely love just the written word and the fact that you are united with these women, men and women. Of course, it depends on the book. For the rest of eternity, you are on paper in print with these amazing women who also want to grow their business, to have the impact, to scale it to another level, to make that change that we are all on a global ready level ready for, and then to come together and co-create this beautiful chapter, and the design from I don't know if there are any more books coming through for you right now, but the design is so gorgeous, and it's just such an experience, and I'm absolutely just proud to be part of a community like yourself, right?
Hmm.
And then to have this book, and for me, this book was an international best-selling book in 4 countries: in the Netherlands, the UK, the US, and Australia. And because I now could, like, for if I wanted to be on the podcast, often is a requirement that you have some kind of social proof that you have something to say, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
well,
mean,
I'm
it
an
gives you authority, it gives
international
you
best-selling author.
credibility. Exactly. Exactly.
And because
People,
that's open doors. Yeah. You're
yeah, and
saying
it's,
we're going time. Go
well,
ahead.
I mean, people, because you've written a book, people assume that you have something to say, which I mean, clearly you do. I mean, most people have something to say. But you have to have that sort of evidence of credibility and authority and expertise, and a book is just the perfect way to do that. And the advantage of a co-authored book as well is that you can kind of dip your toe in to see if, I mean, you definitely have,
I dipped
connected
in
to
my
your
whole body, didn't
author,
I?
right? Like you were like, yep, like this water getting in. Uh, but it's a nice sort of way to test the water, to see if it's for you, to kind of go through these processes that come with doing a book. So it's it's the editing and the I mean the writing first of all, obviously, and then the editing and stuff like that. And committing to writing a full book is much more of a time investment than committing to that chapter, which is 2-3 hours. Everybody tells me that I'm a lunatic when I say it to them, but
No,
that really is the time that most people seem to be spending on writing
for
their
me, it was
chapter.
6, but it was also just getting into the vibe, doing my meditation, really allowing the
Yeah,
words to flow for me. But that's my writing process, of course.
well,
That's
there's that, but
different.
also,
Yeah.
I say it will take a little bit of time thinking about what you're going to be writing. So, but often, for me, for example, that often happens while I'm walking the dog or while I'm doing laundry or whatever mundane thing I'm doing. So yeah, there's a little bit of time that goes into the, okay, what am I going to write, and finding the hook and all that kind of stuff, which we all uh, I at least help the authors with as well.
I
And
was about to say that's something you help them with, so it's
exactly. And then it's just the actual plonking it into your computer is a couple hours work, but it's not going to take you weeks and weeks and weeks.
no.
It's a fairly simple process, and it's
It's,
just
it's,
such a
it's, it's a small investment that you make money wise and time wise. And for me personally, I think I had the investment back after the release within 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and then some, of course, because of the return, and especially on the launch day. I don't know what it is, but on Facebook, just everyone wanted to be my friend, right? So I think most of the authors had like 500 extra new connections with just on launch day. So it's something about the algorithm that they put your profile on top and
yeah,
promote you as well. So obviously it is about leverage the momentum, growing your network, being visible, and really using this opportunity to then get yourself on podcasts or in interviews. And because I'm mostly on LinkedIn, I am now over 4,000 connections, and often when you go on like a podcast, there's a requirement of, like I said, there's some kind of credibility behind it, so you need to have an X amount of numbers on social media or something. So for me, it's like, oh, I'm on LinkedIn, I've got 4,000 people. On Pinterest, I'm going towards 3,000 now. So with networks together, I'm about 10,000 people. I've got my international best-selling book. I've got my award-winning business now, because that happened after, because I could apply for business awards, because I have something to say, because of that international
exactly.
best. I've won several awards as well. Because I'm now winning several awards, I actually have award companies reaching out to me asking if I want to nominate myself and then also win. So it all started with that small investment. So yes, you have to pay for it. Yes, you have to make the time for it, to share your story, to promote your book, to get people to buy I think we did it for 99 cents. I don't know what you guys were planning
Yeah,
on charging.
that's
Well,
going to be the same for
but
our
go
book.
on,
Yeah.
go to a wonderful charity. I know, of course, with you guys, there's a love for bees, so there's going to be investment for like a bee charity or
Yes, we have
equal
a
rights
bee charity, but we also have some that are more around um, female empowerment and those kind of themes, which
equality.
obviously, since we also run the Feminist Entrepreneurs magazine, is very
It's
much
brilliant.
up our alley as well.
By investing in you guys to be able to put together a quality product, you're also investing in these charities. You're also helping out these other communities, well, the bees, but also other women around the world. If I don't know specifically the charities, but I'm assuming it has something to do with giving women the tools to start their own business, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, indeed. And there's some literacy projects and stuff like that, because obviously that fits in fairly well with what we do. But
Yeah.
yeah, we've selected a number of charities that we support in that way, and it's another way to create momentum in the world, right? Like towards this, I think everybody who ends up working with us has this sort of passion about wanting to make a difference in the world, and doing this, and then having having that sort of money go to charity as well is just another way of creating positive change for a
Yeah.
world
So
that needs
yeah.
it.
Yeah, so by them making that small investment, that ripple effect is so amazing. Of yeah, like I said, the charities that will get the money, the sales, it will give you the opportunities to expand your business. Because I know many of people who have the desire to actually write a book or be a published author also want to be writing their own solo book, or they want to be a keynote speaker, or they so it's that first step of so many opportunities that allows you to give you. Obviously, it all depends on what you're going to do with it. Because, like you said, I kind
With
of
everything
hit it
in
out of
life,
the park,
right?
right? I took the momentum and I went for it. But that's me. I
Well,
dive into situations.
yes, you
Yeah.
have definite gumshoe, but I think as well, we like I try and give the authors as many sort of tools and resources I can to help them get that momentum going and keeping it going, because that's the entire point of the exercise, is to create that growth for them. um, and but with everything, I mean, every coach that you hire will have a caveat somewhere in their terms of service that results depend, amongst other things, on
Yes.
how
Yeah.
much of the advice you
If you
actually
don't
take
do
on and
anything,
implement.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so what we also did, obviously, for the results I got, Max and I recorded a masterclass on specifically how I did this, how I created that momentum. So if you're thinking like, yes, I want to share my story, but I have no clue how to do it, don't worry. We got you covered. It's all included. I
Exactly.
think it's in the pay full bonus if they just buy a
Yep,
chapter, right? And you can also
absolutely.
buy it just separately, the masterclass, if you do want to buy it later, or you just want to know, well, no, what are you guys talking about? It's available for sale. Where I also included a second class where we dive into the mindset that's required, because sharing your story, writing and becoming more visible, it can be slightly triggering.
A little
And
bit.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
and also, I don't know if you've experienced that as well when you were writing your chapter for your co-authored book, but I always say, like, there's a sort of stepping up of vulnerability there and visibility there, because first you're just talking about it to me, and then you share it with the editor, and so you kind of you share it slowly within that group of authors before you share it with the world, right? So you get a little bit of practice of, oh, how does it feel to have people read this? Because it's a 3,000 word chapter, there is a level of, like, it's a deep dive, right? It's not a social media caption where you're telling something personal. This is like, we're getting into some shit.
Yeah. But it's also because you are together with other authors. It doesn't feel as I like to say, as butt naked. You don't
Exactly.
feel as naked. So it's a really good stepping stone to help you grow your business by making a small investment and having the ripple effect for the charities and the community, and for your business. And for me, because I then used it to pitch, and yeah, to get myself into bigger podcast and bigger opportunities, and I'm now actually in a phase where I'm actually starting to charge for classes that I teach. On Friday there was I was asked to teach a class where I just said, "Oh well, I charge this," and they went, "Okay." So it's yeah. If when my expertise is required, I can now actually just go, "Oh, well, you want me for a Facebook Live? Fine. This is my fee."
Yeah,
So,
exactly. That's how
but
it
it's
makes
all
more
step by
money.
step by step, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like it's not when people say, "But how does this make me money?" It's not necessarily that you're gonna um, find X amount of extra clients, but it builds your overall reputation, the credibility, the authority, and then, like you say, then you can go, oh yeah, I'll speak at your event. This is my fee, and that those are things that maybe you couldn't have said if you didn't have that sort of authority built over the year.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the feeling, right? Of that's of course what my book's about how we define success. A lot of us are still relating success to prestige, things we've achieved. So if you're going to a podcast where normally I don't know 50,000 downloads per episode or something, well, you've had no experience speaking. It may feel like there's a bit of a gap.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
it's it's also about like learning that you can do this.
Yes.
It's like you have something to say, and people are wanting to hear it. And I think it's such a good way as well to create much more of a to create that human connection between you and your audience, because how many captions will it take to get to the same sort of emotional connection that you can create with someone in a chapter? That's a lot of Facebook posts or Instagram posts or whatever, and I think that because that chapter is for, that's it's such a convenient way to share what you do and why you do it, because most of the stories that are in there are somehow the sort of the reason that people have come to do the business that they're in.
Yeah.
We usually come from our personal experiences, and then we think like, oh, I don't want other people to have to go through this, or oh, I want to make this easier for people, or I don't want people to have to make the same mistakes that I made, or whatever. And I think that it's important that we share those things with people, because and especially as solo entrepreneurs, people aren't coming to us expecting the corporate experience. That's not, you don't hire a solo entrepreneur to get a corporate experience. Um, so let's give them the solo entrepreneur experience. They're working with a human being, and the more we can embrace that fact and not hide behind um
Screens effectively. Yeah.
exactly, and filters and whatever. I think it's going to make for a much nicer experience, both for the clients and the entrepreneurs, to be honest, because it's exhausting to have to live in a filter the whole time that you're working with someone. How much easier is it to just be yourself? I mean, Suzanne's the poster child of not filtering herself, so
Well, as I'm writing my book, I do notice a lot of things coming up. It's quite fascinating, the process of putting your own story to words. Yeah, in a chapter like that, and yeah, really, yeah, like I said,
well,
feeling butt naked doing it,
well,
right?
that's the thing, but it is a weird kind of form of therapy as well, right? Because because you're writing all this stuff, and you're kind of while you're okay, so you're doing this to boost your business and all that kind of stuff, but you're also kind of processing it and letting that story go. And so it's also that sort of it's also the cleanse for the upgrade, right? In terms of sort of how the universe and energy works. Like, okay, we're letting go of the old, and it's
New
really
level.
funny. Exactly. It just, because you're working through it in your writing, it allows you to up level and process it. So it's a really, I mean, it's therapy and marketing. It's great.
Yeah, and then what I find is what you say about working like with your authors. we both prefer the really personalized approach, just
Yes.
because of our own backstories, where we basically were told over and over again, your story doesn't matter. And I
Mhm.
know that's a big thing for you, and why you do it. You give people the opportunity to claim their story, to claim that truth that is ready to come, yeah, truth. And there's no one who can argue with your book, right? They can share stuff on social media and maybe email you that they don't agree, but it's on paper. You can take a stand and say, this is my story, I matter, my story matters, and this is it. This is how I experienced that experience, or that relationship, or that whatever
Yeah,
I went
and
through. And I
that's
find it really empowering just to go, this is how I
this is
felt, and
my truth,
this
right?
is my truth. And I
And
think by doing that, and giving ourselves permission to share our truth, I think a lot of other people, a lot of other entrepreneurs, business owners, by giving yourself permission to claim your truth, other people will be able to open up about their traumatic past, or their the abuse they went through, or their narcissistic, marriage they had, or whatever it is they went through.
oh,
And there's
oh,
a reason why my book's called Drop the Motherfucking Struggle, because I went through my own fair shit,
you had a bit of struggle,
right?
pal.
And because we don't talk about these things, everyone thinks they're the only one in the fucking world
Absolutely.
going through these
No,
things.
100%.
Yeah.
We look at these people who we think are successful, who we view as successful, and we completely forget that they are human beings and they probably went through some shit or are going through some shit. We can pull off a fair amount of look at me being successful while our house is on fire, right? Just double checking. No, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
think,
it's
yeah,
but it
there's,
is
yeah, yeah, and
but
I've
it's
also
so
worked with
true.
a lot of with entrepreneurs who are like on the top of their game. They worked their way to the top. They've worked hard for their success. Like they're on their game, while their marriage is in shambles. They're absolutely miserable, and they're about to throw in the towel. And if I'm gonna go, no, everything is perfect too, um, they will never take the steps and go, you know what? I can have a thriving marriage and great health and have a business. I just don't know how to get there. Which, of course, that's why people hire me. Is that I help figure out how these pieces do fit together. But that all ties in, of course, with mindset, and well, that's what we'll dive into the book,
Absolutely.
on how that all ties together, and what my expertise allows you to do. Of course, the book is then a method of doing it by yourself. There will be book resources available where we have meditations and things all to help you break it down. So it's a real, as the title also says, a how-to guide to help you embrace your own awesomeness and create the life that you desire. But we do need to break it down, and help you understand why certain things are the way they are, because there's a lot of beliefs around how entrepreneurship should be, how we should be as a success, how we're supposed to be as a woman, as a mother, as a co-worker. And all these shoots are keeping us stuck in some kind of frame, draining our fucking soul, right? And
Absolutely.
that's what the book's about,
100%.
giving you permission to be you, and be okay, to feel safe to be you. And yeah, the reason I'm doing this solo book now, I've been wanting to do this for God knows how many years, but I'm finally managed, to go through the actual process, because I opened up for help. And I really hope that by sharing my story, by sharing my struggles, but also how the momentum and certain steps, and how that all changed, and how you can do it for yourself. But the process for everyone is unique. So it's giving yourself permission to find your own way, not what everyone is telling you should be doing. And that, of course, then ties in with how safe you feel in this situation, actually, to move forward. But we'll dive into all these dynamics in the book, because obviously I can talk about this for hours, because I've been
Hours and hours. You've written a whole book about
writing
it.
a lot. But yeah, that's why I think it's so empowering to share your story. If you want to start do start with a co-author book, because it's a stepping stone, right? And it really allows your business and yeah, the way way you want the success of it was, whether you want to, become a keynote speaker or a podcast guest, or just grow your business and make the impact you want. It really allows you, with Max and her team, to put your story to words in a way, and with a beautiful design cover it as well. And everything is done for you, so you don't need to screw around with trying to figure out how to do
Well,
the tech and all that kind of stuff. No,
not
Max will and the
everything
team
is
will
done
take
for
care of
you, but but the parts that you have to do yourself will help you with.
that. Yes,
But yeah, it is a great way to kind of get started, and also just from an investment point of view, yeah, doing a book by yourself is very simply a larger investment than doing a chapter. So giving your business that momentum first before you get into the solo book just makes financial sense, I think. And like you say, you want to have, when you're doing a co-authored book, you're promoting it as a group, and you have access to all these new audiences and things like that, which just also means that once you get to do a solo book, you already have that audience to sell to, because suddenly you're going to be selling it to just your audience, in a sense. So just from it's a really logical sort of stepping stone and growth process that way.
exactly. So if you are like me, and you always wanted to be a published author, best-selling author, and just share your story through, yeah, the power of the written word, then this is definitely your cue. To pop Max a
This
message,
is the universe coming knocking. Come on, get your
right?
chapter in.
Exactly. So she has a few slots left for Power Reintervention. That's currently,
Yeah,
and
Power of Reinvention is coming out in August, so you could be a published and most likely best-selling author by the end of the summer. Wouldn't that be
yes,
nice? Wouldn't that be lovely? And
absolutely.
probably even an international best-selling author, because our authors are in different countries. See, this is what we're working on.
Yeah, so that's
It's very
brilliant.
exciting.
Obviously, if that's something you desire, because if you don't care about books, then this is not for you.
Yeah.
But if you're like us and you love books, then this is, of course, a very wise investment to make, time wise, money wise, and of course energy wise, because it will gain you a lot of momentum for your business and the return. Yeah, and of course, depending on how much you're willing to do with it yourself, it really is something that can be life changing if you allow it to be.
Yes, very much so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if people do want to get in touch, I'll make sure to comment on this live stream once I can find it. And please do reach out, send me a direct message, um, and we'll sort things out. I'll get the information to people.
And your website is houseofhives.com.
Houseofhives.com.
Yes,
Yes.
and if anything wants to find out more about me, obviously I'm mostly on LinkedIn. Look for Susanne Grant. Make sure you spell it correctly, because it's spelled the Dutch way. And if you are looking for my website, it's grantmethod.com, because the method I teach is after my
just
last name.
Just as a fun fact, before this call started, I am also Dutch. And Suzanne and I were speaking Dutch. And then she went on live and she started speaking English and completely freaked me out. Because I was like, oh, wait, of course we're doing this in English.
Yeah, I realized as I was saying, it was like, should I even ask if we're doing the thing in English or
No,
don't?
it's fine. But clearly it's fine. But
We
Suzanne and
kunnen het
I
ook in
don't
het
usually,
Nederlands afsluiten als dat makkelijker is.
we don't usually speak English together. It was a real mind moment.
Just keeping it real, yo. Yes. No, brilliant. Well, I think it concludes today's activity. So, like I said,
Definitely.
if this resonates with you, please pop Max a message, because there's a few chapters left. It requires about, say, maximum 4 or 5 hours in the next week after, to get your story onto paper
Yeah.
and have the editor go through it and everything else. Yeah, the design, text
Well,
stuff, it will be taken
exactly.
care of by Max and her team. So you could be a published author in just 6 weeks, give or take.
Yeah.
So if
Nice,
that's you,
huh?
let's do this thing, right?
Let's do this thing.
Good. Well, I am gonna make my babies some yummy food for lunch
I think this
because
is a
it's.
really good
I
plan.
can hear them running in the garden trying to buy it.
Well,
So
everybody enjoy the rest of their Sunday, including you, Suzanne.
absolutely.
And yeah, reach out if you want to know a bit more. I'm here.
Yay! Well, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.